Well, this bodes well. Kowal Lazy here, joining you guys for this first little hosting block. We're going to get started real quick. I don't want to dilly-dally too long, especially with the brief delay as Windows decided that this was like the perfect time for all that sort of shenanigans. Our first run of the marathon is Silo Simon, who's going to be running Shrek Extra Large, and tangential related to this game. Fun minigame for those of you to play at home is count how many games in the marathon have a dedicated farting button. I guarantee that you will find some farts in this upcoming run. I'm going to check in with the runner and make sure they're ready to go, and if they're good to go, then we're going to get started right away. All right, and we're going to give it over to Silo Simon. Take it away, Simon.
Maybe shouldn't have said that immediately. First thing. Hopefully I wasn't live yet. Alright, we're live? Cool. What's up, everyone? How's it going? This is Shrek Extra Large. Thank you again to Big Bad Game-a-thon for letting me open up this marathon. I hope everyone's doing well today. So, for Shrek Extra Large, I'm going to be running no levels early. No levels early is a bit different than any percent in that any percent lets you use the barrier skip, which exists in this game. There's a barrier skip in this game that lets you go right from the tutorial level to the very last level of the game. So that makes the run roughly around like 3 or 4 minutes, but no levels early goes through every level in the game. So yeah, we're going to be running this without a memory card just because autosaves make the game a little bit slower and make menuing a little bit more inconsistent as far as timing goes. So yeah, so timing starts in 3, 2, 1, go. So this game is a 3D platformer. It's pretty basic as far as mechanics go. Shrek runs really fast in this game.
Okay.
So it's a pretty fast-paced game overall, I'd say. But the mechanics of the game are pretty simple. There's wall kicking, which actually is used quite a bit for platform skipping and whatnot. We also can do stuff like punch, kick, and grab enemies. And yeah, it's kind of hard to hear the guy talking, and I usually use audio cues for this, so my apologies for the slowness on this level. But anyway, the best mechanic in this game, and the most important one, is the farting mechanic, which you use by pressing R. And we use farts to light fires and fart on things to stun them and hurt them and stuff. So, and yeah, there are a few speed tricks that are actually used involving farts and fire farts and stuff. It's pretty cool. So this game was originally routed by Author Blues. He ran this game and brought it down to about a 39-minute run, and then eventually Meow Mix brought the time down to about a 34-minute run, and then Joyful Fireball brought the run down to about a 32-minute run, and now the record for this is about 25.5 minutes. So what we did right there, by the way, is one of the first platforming skips. We actually went around a huge portion of the level because of this skip. Normally you're supposed to go and jump on a bunch of like trampolines to get onto these tree bridges to go across these trees and go down a big hollowed out tree to get behind this waterfall and then punch the tree to knock it down and get to the other side. But you can actually just wall kick that route with like a really precise wall kick, and it's pretty interesting because only that small little area next to the tree has an open wall, because the rest of the area next to it is actually a gigantic invisible wall. It's kind of weird, but anyway, so this is one of the first uses of the fire fart explosions. Once we get the golden onion, it'll let us do the fire fart explosions to open that door, and then we need to grab Little Red Riding Hood's candy for her. The main like premise of this game is basically like Shrek needs to get Fiona back from this evil ice queen that stole her in the middle of the night from Shrek's swamp, and Shrek needs to go and do a bunch of good deeds to bring down this big barrier of evil darkness to progress from level to level. And then, nice, I missed that wall kick, lame. Come on, let's get this up here. Alright, there we go. And essentially, you have a couple of boss fights along the way. There's about 3 in total, including the final boss. And yeah, it's mostly just kind of doing a bunch of quests for a bunch of characters in fairy tale themed levels. By the way, this game is a port of the, it's kind of a port of the Xbox Shrek game that that was made about a year before this game. And this game actually adds 2 levels to the game. The level we just completed, Enchanted Forest, is the first level they added, and then there's one more level later on in the game that they added as well. So it's a little bit longer than Shrek normally is, but it is a pretty good port. It's still a pretty short game either way, though. Overall, I'd say casually, it probably takes somebody like an hour and a half to beat this game, maybe, blind. So it's really not too complicated, but yeah, so this is one of the uses, one of the few uses of punting and kicking of enemies, because there's a few quests that we have to do, like we have to bring a bunch of things to specific characters and gather them up in specific places, and there's another one of these quests right now actually with Little Bo Peep's sheep. We need to go collect 5 of her sheep up, and the thing is, we have this big bad wolf that tries to keep the sheep away from us, so we need to make sure to gather them up quickly so that he doesn't actually push any of them out of the pen, because he'll just throw them out of the pen immediately. It's kind of bad if he does that, but luckily it was actually pretty good, and that was pretty quick. So this next quest we need to do here is we need to wake up these guards because reasons. And one thing we can do while we wall kick these is if we hold our wall kick, if we hold A to make sure our wall kick goes enough height to make it to the next tower, we can actually we can do like 1 wall kick, and that'll chain both of those together. So the thing we just skipped right there was the tutorial for the Mega Punch superpower. There's 2 superpowers you get in this game. The first one is a Mega Punch, and the next one is a Ground Pound. The Ground Pound isn't really useful as far as ground pounding anything goes, but it is useful for other reasons. But the Mega Punch is actually quite useful throughout the game because it's a really quick way to do a lot of damage. Nice. I need this guy to throw a ball at me so I can start this quest. Normally this quest doesn't actually start until you did he get stuck up there? He did. That's not good. Get up here. Get over here. Anyway, sorry. Normally this quest doesn't start until you finish a bunch of quests later, but and a lot of quests in this game are actually like that, where you can only do them after finishing a specific other quest. But there are some quests that you actually can complete in whatever order you want, or you can try and set up for the I'm just gonna make sure that none of these guys fix this thing. You should be pretty good. Okay, I just want to make sure. Since we're doing a marathon run, I'm not going to be too unsafe about that thing, because we have to kick that machine and then a timer counts down. But if the repairmen fix that machine in time, then it's actually really bad, because you have to sit through that 30 seconds all over again every time that happens. So anyway, one thing that's interesting is when we carry NPCs into this cutscene specifically, it won't activate the cutscene, so it's actually a pretty interesting cutscene skip. It only saves like a few seconds, because you can skip cutscenes anyway just by pressing start, but that completely like negates bringing up the entire option anyway. This guy's being really trolly and not getting out of the ring. Come on, there we go. So this is the first boss in the game, and it's pretty easy. All you have to do is mega punch him. That's the only way you can damage him, and then you have to ring him out 3 times. If you jump out of the ring at any point or get knocked out of the ring, you lose all of that score, so you want to make sure that doesn't happen. Alright, cool. All of those guys made it into the hatches, so that's really good. I'm gonna actually punch all of these guys, because they're going to fix this thing like really quickly and be super trolly. So, okay. And that should be good. They should hopefully leave these alone in enough time for me to punch all of these steam tubes. Cool. Awesome. So we played that level a little safe there, so that wasn't really super quick, but that's totally fine. Yeah, sorry, there's a ton of stuff to explain, so my bad that my thoughts are a little unorganized for this, but yeah. As I said, though, a lot of quests, we can kind of like start the quests. We can start setting up the quests before the quests actually let us start finishing the quest anyway. It's kind of hard to explain, but there's a few things we can set up along the way, and then we just have to go and finish them later, but it's a lot faster to set them up earlier. And then there's some quests that we can actually just do whenever. It's kind of a weird system that the game follows, but either way. So we're trying to gather up all of these blue scientist dudes and put them in their workplaces, so that when we get to that quest, we'll actually have them already in place, and we can just walk into the room that they're in and load them into place, so that they will automatically uptick the counter that we have for all of the scientists being in place. So the thing that I'm doing right now that I like those guys I was farting on, they are ice cream men, and your goal is to melt them. Nice, I missed that fire boost or fart boost jump. Fart boost jumps are kind of useful. They let you get a bit of height and skip a couple things. It's one of the most useful speed tech things involving farts. Nice, that was a really good kick. The thing about kicking in this game is like you can get a certain amount of height based on when you kick out of your jump. So, or like if you jump kick, the amount of height you get depends on like how early you get the kick, basically. It's kind of weird. Nice, this guy stayed in place, that's good. I was about to say he took a second to get in place, but it's awesome. This guy usually is really hard to get in place, because throwing him in place is really, really precise. So if you get him to land in place, then you're really lucky. But we got 3 of them to stay in place, which is, well, actually, sorry, 2 of them to stay in place, which is good enough. That's pretty much the average that we get. But if you're lucky, the third one there, or sorry, not the third one, well, the third scientist that you collect up, but I don't know, whatever. Anyway, I'm just gonna move on from that thought. So this is a kind of cool trick. These valves, you can actually kick them in any order, but there's an intended order that they're supposed to be kicked in, and you can actually use the the warp strats for that to warp back to the beginning of the the quest, because you're supposed to kick the valves. Like, the first valve I was supposed to kick was the valve I just kicked second. And the way the warps work is, if you have kicked a valve out of order, it'll teleport you back to the valve that you haven't quite kicked yet, or well, or not. Sorry, it'll teleport you back to the valve that you last kicked, and then that's slow, except for just the very, except for the if you kick the last valve, then it'll teleport you to that location, and then you'll actually also have fire from picking up a chili pepper, and that will let you fart boost jump up to the platform of the first valve you're supposed to kick, which saves a little bit of time. Sorry, that was really kind of hard for me to think about and explain while I'm doing all this stuff. There's like a lot of things you have to do, and it kind of takes a bit of focus to do like super well. But either way, this wasn't too bad though. This boss can be super trolly unless you stun lock her like that. Because she has this gun that she shoots little creatures out of, and it like knocks you around the room really quickly, and it does a ton of damage as well. So it's really nice that we got past her without any problems whatsoever. It's a really good stun lock. Nice. Okay, let's go. So this is the second level they added to the game for the GameCube version. This is Lonely Mountain. It is also the shortest level of the game. Typically it only should take us around like 2 minutes to finish the level. But anyway, so the first quest here is to grab the 4-leaf clover for the leprechaun that is waiting up here, so that he can go on his way and leave and stuff, I guess. And then you have, well, I guess, sorry, you have to unfreeze his cart first, and then he can leave. And then once you're done with that, it'll teleport you to this spot, and then you need to go and grab the pot of gold that the first quest wanted you to grab. And the reason why you're doing all this stuff is basically just to get the directions to the castles to go and fight the final boss. So one thing I didn't mention a second ago is that the boss we just fought, the Ice Queen, she you figure out after you fight her that Merlin, the evil wizard, actually double-crossed her and betrayed her, so she actually tells you where to go and find Merlin. Because Merlin is the one who actually ended up kidnapping Fiona, and he just like framed the Ice Queen. But yeah, we need to find the last gnome here. This quest is to punch gnomes because they're evil gnomes. But yeah, so we now need to go, and our next quest is to go and fight Merlin. We need to go through the creepy crypt to get to the Crown Prince Castle, and then we go through the Crown Prince Castle to find our way to the Blue Dragon's Castle, and then that'll lead to the end of the game. So we need to first, in this quest, we got really good RNG here. The skeletons are kind of randomly placed about the level, not the whole level, but just the first little area, and the skeleton that follows you first is random, and you want that skeleton, like the best RNG is the skeleton on the left will follow you, and then if he follows you right away, that's also really good, because he can get spooked really easily and start walking away from you and not follow you for a good couple of seconds. So it's really good if you get that skeleton to follow you first. It's very quick. Okay, so this was bad RNG. If this witch spawns all the way over here, it takes a good couple of seconds to walk over to her. Sometimes she'll spawn like over where that first witch was, which is actually really nice. But these witches are actually really kind of hard to kill too, because you're supposed to fart on them and then kick them, but you have to turn around to fart on them, and and that can be kind of hard because they're really quick. So it takes a little bit of precise movement to make sure you do that right. Anyway, so the reason we restarted that level is so we could get back to the beginning of this level, so we could grab this bug, because our next quest is to gather up all of these super realistic spiders to get them to their spider mother. And it's a little bit easier if we just restart the level and grab these guys instead of backtracking through the like basement area, which is down here, which is where you get teleported after you fart on all of the witches. So it's just best if you go and start the quest and then restart the level, so that the quest has started, but then everything should be in place. And then once we lure those spiders down, we need to kick this final spider down. That was a good kick. You need a kind of precise kick to make sure he makes it over the edge and also isn't knocked out, because if he is knocked out, he will take a few seconds before he'll wake up. So it's good if you don't do that. The fifth spider at the end wasn't following. That was annoying. Okay, so we got all 5 of them to the spider mother, so that's good. Now we just need to go and spoop all of these bats, and then they will knock down this magical set of armor that lets us resist dragon fire, and that will let us go and talk to the dragon in Blue Dragon's castle to find out where Merlin is. So we do a bunch of really precise, or not precise wall kicks, sorry, a bunch of just wall kicking and platform skipping to get to these bats. Some of them are kind of precise, but not all of them. It's not too difficult, but all of this stuff was fun to reroute and everything. I've rerouted this game a little bit since Joyful Fireball ran the game, but it's a fun game to run. It's definitely pretty fast-paced, and it's getting to the point where we can only, I think I can only save probably around a minute or so on my PB. And it probably won't get much further than that unless somebody gets like ridiculously perfect at movement and everything, and really good at reacting to some of the RNG in the game. Pick up the NPC Shrek, please. One thing that's kind of annoying about the NPCs in this game is to grab some things or just connect punches and stuff. It can be really kind of weird because you have to be like facing almost directly at them, and then also you have to be kind of punching into them. So it can be really hard to make connections. So one of the first quests that we do here in this level is we need to bring the Crown Prince up to his bedroom, because he's a lazy Crown Prince and he wants you to do that. I guess his wife wants you to do that or something. But anyway, I'm not going to ask what they want to do up there, but so the fastest way to do that is actually normally when you're carrying him, you move ridiculously slow. But if you mash X, you're actually able to move about your walking speed when you're carrying him, instead of like a third of your walking speed. But the thing about mashing that is you can drop him, so it's a little bit of a trade-off. Alright, I'm going to try and lure this guy over to here so that he walks over here, and then I'm going to grab him and throw him into there, and then close the gate. And that'll lock the guard into place, and that's one of the quests in this game. The guard is actually an evil guard that the Crown Prince wants you to stop so you can free all of these innocent prisoners. Please, prisoner, fall out the window. Nice. Wait, he didn't fall off. He fell down. Dang. Come on. Stop falling down. Get out. Okay, good. We freed him. Alright, so then we need to grab this last jester here. This camera is really good. Okay, so, so we need to grab this last jester, and the reason we're grabbing all of these jesters and bringing them to this area is we need to fire fart on them all at the end to entertain the Crown Prince, who just magically gets back here for some reason. And the fastest way to go about doing that is to just gather them all up into that area and then fart on them. So yeah, so we're going to the second to last level now, and this is the Blue Dragon's Castle. Blue Dragon's Castle is kind of an annoying level. It's a little hard to get everything down to a T, but the first quest we do here is we need to lure these baby dragons into this kiddie pool over here to cool them off, and like these dragons are super trolly because they really like to they sometimes really just like to not try and get into the pool, and then on top of that they like to run off cliffs and stuff and just waste a lot of time. So we just need to try and make sure to lure them to places where they'll walk and follow us in the correct way. Alright, I'm gonna throw this guy into there and hopefully he won't run away. We're just gonna hope the dragon walks into there once we get over to that area here in a second. Alright, so I'm gonna kick that guy over to there so he stays trapped over here. Hopefully I'll have enough fire to do this. Come on. Nice, we did it. Good. Alright, and he didn't run off, which is awesome. That's really good, because this guy in particular he's pretty prone to running off the cliff, because if the dragons are chasing them, then they'll run off the cliff like super quickly, and it's bad. So this guy didn't get into the pool, but luckily he didn't run away either, so that actually isn't that bad. Nice, awesome. So we got all 3 of the dragons in place, that's good. So we need to grab this chili pepper and light this fire here. We didn't light the fire, darn it. Just gonna wait here for another chili pepper since we did that. Okay, so that was a little slow, but I just missed the fart there. One thing I try to do when I do the farts is while you're holding the run button, if you just fart at all, it'll automatically fart. And if you run off of those flame sconces or whatever you hold fire in, torches, I guess, if you fire fart off of them, you can kind of quickly get off of them, which saves like a second or so compared to like farting and then jumping off. But anyway, so we got all of those fires lit, which is good. Now we need to get the final goldfish into place. We also need to lure these goldfishes into place. These goldfish can be really finicky, by the way. They can glitch out really hardcore and cause you to speed boost glitch way the heck out of the level pretty easily, actually. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but essentially what happens with the speed boost glitch is the NPCs can... Nice, that almost pushed me through the floor. That was really close. That was you guys kind of almost got an example there of the speed boost glitch, which thankfully it didn't push me through the floor, because that would have been really bad. But what can happen with that is it'll sometimes boost you in a random direction at a random speed. Not a random direction always, it kind of depends on how you go about doing the glitch. But the thing is, we actually use that glitch in the overworld map to do the barrier skip that I was talking about before the run. And yeah, so the next thing we need to do here is we need to go and fight the final boss in this level, which is a surprise, but you guys will see if I can freaking platform. There we go. That took too long. Alright, and then Revenge of the Evil Cow. And we also just fart on it. So the dragon will then tell you where Merlin is, and then you have to go and fight him. So you go to Merlin's dark tower fortress of pure evil. And this level is definitely like the hardest level of the game, but it's not too hard either way if you do it safe. But either way, essentially you need to go and bring these dynamite guys to these doors and blow them up. There are 3 doors that you need to blow up, and there are these fire guys that try to throw fire at you. They do a good bit of damage, and then on top of that, the dynamite will explode upon any fire source hitting it. So, so you want to make sure to avoid their hits and also not throw your dynamite into a torch or anything, because that can be bad as well. But yeah, so once we grab this third dynamite, we just need to bring him to the final door there. Thankfully, none of my dynamites landed on door frames, because if any of the dynamites land on a door frame, then you have to like do a bunch of ground pounds to get enough height to knock them down. Oh, this is the ground pound animation, by the way. The one thing where he's doing the, like, he's flattening out his body and like basically planking. That is the beginning of the animation of the, nice, I totally missed that, lame. I tried to grab that guy, but the grab wouldn't connect. That's annoying. But anyway, so this is almost the end of the game. We just need to explode that thing in the middle, and then we need to hit Merlin 5 times, and then that's the end of the game. So Merlin only dies to dragon fire, so that's why you have like infinite fire. The dragon gives you this infinite fire power. It's kind of neat, but anyway, so time. So 27:04. It's not bad. It's not bad. GG, boys.
Oh.
GG.
Didn't see that coming.
And that's the ending. Here, I'll let the cutscene play out, because I think there's a cutscene that plays right after this. Oh wait, no, yeah, you already heard the voice line. Basically, all he does is say, at the very end, he's like, "Oh, didn't see that one coming." Like, imagine if you just you go through all of the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. You go and beat all of the temples, and then you go fight Ganondorf, and then you get up to Ganon, and its final hit of Ganon, you hit Ganon, and he's like, "Oh, didn't see that one coming." But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the run. Yeah, sorry about my commentary is a little all over the place, just because this run's like kind of hectic. So there's like a lot of stuff to explain, but either way, if you guys were wondering, that was the only time you ever see Fiona in the entire game. Like, she's like floating in the middle, she doesn't say anything.
Ruins turned out to be quite tourist.
And there aren't any other Shrek characters in the entire game.
People from far away to come.
Even though Donkey is on the cover of Shrek Extra Large, he isn't in the game at all.
Happily ever after.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm whenever you guys want to set up for Jumper, I'm ready to do that. Obviously, we have a little bit of extra time. Sorry about the a little bit of an overestimate. I did that estimate a little bit ago, but I think now I could probably do like a 30-minute estimate and be...
Oops, sorry to cut you off there, Silo Simon. We are getting set up right now for the next run, which is Jumper Griffin's Story. Hope you're getting ready for this one here. It's going to be a blast. This one's got some wacky speed tech. If you thought Shrek was fast, this one's completely nuts, so stay tuned. We'll get there soon. Just as a quick aside, while we're getting set up for the next run, I just want to thank you guys so much. I don't know if you've seen the Twitter recently, but in the first run of the marathon for 2018, we have more than doubled our viewer count from last year's high water mark. Thank you so much for tuning in to enjoy Big Bad Game-a-thon 2018. We're just getting started, and the hits are going to keep coming. Though it's hard to top a game that starts with dedicated fart boost speed tech. That's pretty awesome. And without further ado, we're going to take it over to Silo Simon with Jumper.